this smile. The rain wasn't heavy, just enough to blur mascara, just enough to make grief look dramatic. Daniel Carter's funeral drew nearly 200 people, friends from real estate, family from Houston, neighbors, old college buddies. Daniel was 34, healthy, successful, married, and now dead. Police ruled it an accident, a fall down the stairs at 11:42 p.m. Tragic, sudden, unfortunate. Case closed. But grief has patterns, and Emily Carter wasn't following them. She stood near the coffin, dressed perfectly in black, hair neat, face calm. Too calm. When Daniel's mother collapsed screaming, Emily didn't rush to help. When his brother cursed at the sky, she didn't react. And when the coffin was lowered into the ground, Emily smiled. Not a grin, not obvious, just a slight curve of her lips, like relief. Only one person noticed, Daniel's sister, Rachel. She felt it instantly, something wasn't right. Because Emily didn't look shattered, she looked free. Later that night, police returned to the Carter home to finish paperwork, routine procedure. Officer Grant walked down the hallway one last time. That's when he saw it. A small black dome mounted above the staircase. A security camera. Strange, because the official report never mentioned any footage. And Daniel supposedly fell right there at 11:42 p.m. If the camera was working, then it recorded everything. The tech team pulled the footage. 11:38 p.m., Daniel walking upstairs. 11:40 p.m., he pauses, looks toward the hallway. 11:41 p.m., a shadow appears behind him. Not clear, but someone was there. Daniel wasn't drunk, he wasn't stumbling, he was standing still. Then his shoulders tightened. Someone stepped closer behind him, very close. Daniel's expression changed. Not surprise, fear. His lips moved. He whispered one word, "Please." Then the screen glitched. Static, black. Timestamp 11:42 p.m., the exact minute he fell. The file was corrupted, but only at that exact moment. Every second before, crystal clear. Every second after, gone. And here's what made it worse. The system required a password to delete footage. Only 2 people had it, Daniel and Emily. But when detectives checked Emily's phone location, it showed her 17 miles away at a motel from 10:59 p.m. to 1:12 a.m. So if Emily wasn't home, who was standing behind Daniel? And why did Emily smile at the funeral? Because here's something no one knew yet. At 11:36 p.m., 6 minutes before he died, Daniel sent a message. Not to his wife, not to his parents, to Rachel. It read, "If anything happens to me, don't trust her." In Part 2, we uncover the motel secret and reveal who Emily wasn't supposed to be with that night. And trust me, the CCTV wasn't lying, but it wasn't telling the whole truth either.
The motel. Rachel didn't show the message immediately. She read it 10 times first. If anything happens to me, don't trust her. Her hands shook. Daniel loved Emily. Everyone knew that. Or at least, that's what they thought. Detectives pulled motel records. Emily checked in to Sunset Inn at 10:47 p.m. Room 214. Alone. At least that's what the paperwork said. But security footage told a different story. At 11:03 p.m., a man entered room 214, baseball cap, hoodie, face down. He stayed 28 minutes, left at 11:31 p.m. 11 minutes before Daniel died. When confronted, Emily didn't panic. She didn't cry. She didn't even deny it. "Yes," she said calmly, "I was having an affair." The room went silent, but then she added something chilling. "I wanted to leave Daniel." So why didn't she? Because Daniel had updated his life insurance policy 2 months ago. $2 million. Emily was the sole beneficiary. And here's where it twists. The affair partner? His name was Mark Hale, a former client of Daniel's, someone who knew the house layout, someone who had visited before, someone who knew about the staircase camera. But Mark had an alibi. He was at a bar at 11:40 p.m. Receipts, witnesses, CCTV proof. So if he left the motel at 11:31, he couldn't physically be at Daniel's house by 11:41. It didn't add up. Unless someone else had access to the house. Someone trusted. Someone invisible. And when police checked the deleted CCTV data logs, they found something terrifying. The footage wasn't deleted from inside the house. It was accessed remotely from Daniel's laptop at 11:43 p.m., 1 minute after the fall. But Daniel was already dead. So who logged in to his laptop? And why did Emily smile? Not in guilt, but in certainty. In Part 3, we uncover what Daniel discovered 3 days before his death, and why he secretly changed something in his will, something that makes the affair look small and the murder look planned.
The change no one knew about. 3 days before he died, Daniel Carter met with his lawyer, not for business, for something personal. The meeting lasted 42 minutes. No one knew about it, not Emily, not his family, not even Rachel, until detectives checked his recent appointments. Inside the lawyer's office, Daniel had requested one thing: to change his will. Not remove Emily completely, but reduce her inheritance to almost nothing. Instead, he added a clause: "If my death is ruled accidental under suspicious circumstances, my estate transfers to my sister, Rachel Carter." Suspicious circumstances. That wasn't random wording. That was fear. The lawyer later told detectives Daniel seemed distracted, nervous. He asked strange questions. What happens if someone manipulates security footage? Can digital tampering be traced? If someone stages an accident, how often is it missed? Daniel wasn't paranoid. He was preparing. But preparing for what? Police dug deeper into his laptop history. 3 days before his death, he searched how to recover deleted CCTV files, remote access logs on home security systems, how to trace IP login attempts. Someone had accessed his system before, someone testing it. And then came the real shock. Daniel had installed a backup. Not cloud storage, not external hard drive, a hidden secondary recording device inside the attic, motion activated, completely separate from the main system, and it faced one direction, the staircase. Tech teams retrieved it. The file wasn't corrupted. It wasn't deleted. It was intact. 11:40 p.m. Daniel stands at the top of the stairs. 11:41 p.m. Footsteps approach from behind. Clear this time. No shadow, no blur. The person steps into frame. Not Mark, not a stranger, not a burglar. Emily, wearing the same black hoodie seen at the motel. She wasn't 17 miles away. Her phone was. She had left it in room 214, creating a perfect alibi. Daniel turns slowly. He isn't shocked. He's disappointed. "Why?" he asks. Emily's voice is steady. "Because you were going to leave me with nothing." Daniel's face changes. So she knew. She knew about the will.
That means she saw something, or hacked something, or followed him. And then she says the line that chills investigators. "You should have checked the attic." Daniel's eyes widen because he thought the backup was secret, but Emily knew. She steps closer, too close. Daniel whispers, "Please." She leans in and says softly, "You always underestimated me." Then she pushes him hard. The sound is sickening. The camera captures everything. No glitch, no corruption, no accident. Murder. But here's where it gets darker. After the fall, Emily doesn't scream. She doesn't call 911. She checks his pulse, and then she smiles, the same smile from the funeral. But what happens next is even more disturbing, because instead of leaving immediately, she walks toward the attic stairs and looks directly into the hidden camera, as if she knew exactly where it was. And then the footage cuts. Not deleted, just ended, because someone turned the device off manually. So here's the question. If Emily knew about the hidden backup, why did she still push him? And who turned off the attic camera? Because according to forensic timestamps, the device was powered down at 11:44 p.m., but Emily's phone was still pinging at the motel, meaning someone else was inside that house. In Part 4, we discovered the second pair of fingerprints on Daniel's laptop, and the person no one suspected. And trust me, this wasn't a crime of passion. It was a collaboration, and someone else wanted Daniel dead.
The second set of prints. When forensic teams dusted Daniel's laptop, they expected one clear set of fingerprints. Daniel's. Maybe Emily's. What they didn't expect was a third set. Partial. Smudged, but recent. The login activity at 11:43 p.m., 1 minute after Daniel's fall, came from inside the house network. Not remotely. Inside, meaning someone physically used the laptop. Someone who was there. But CCTV from the neighborhood showed no unfamiliar cars, no forced entry, no break-ins. So how did a second person enter the house unnoticed? Detectives reviewed the attic footage again. Frame by frame, zoomed, enhanced, slowed down. And there, for half a second, just before the device shuts off, a reflection in the glass of a framed photo on the wall. Not Emily, another silhouette, standing near the hallway entrance, watching her push him, watching him fall, not intervening, not shocked, still, calm. The shape looked familiar. Broad shoulders, short hair, tall. Rachel Carter, Daniel's sister, the same sister who first noticed Emily's smile at the funeral, the same sister who received the text, "If anything happens to me, don't trust her." But here's the twist. Rachel wasn't warning anyone. She was positioning herself, because if Daniel's death became suspicious, she inherited everything. The updated will gave her full control. $2 million. Properties, investments. So the motive wasn't just love, it was money and revenge. Detectives pulled Rachel's phone records. She had called Daniel 3 times that night. No answer. But at 11:12 p.m., she called Emily. 3-minute conversation, deleted from Emily's call log but recovered from carrier records. Why would the wife and sister speak privately minutes before murder? When confronted separately, their stories didn't match. Emily claims she was at the motel the entire night. Rachel claimed she was home alone. But traffic cameras caught Rachel's car driving toward Daniel's neighborhood at 10:58 p.m. and leaving at 11:48 p.m., 10 minutes after Daniel's death. So here's what likely happened. Emily left her phone at the motel, created the illusion she never left. Rachel picked her up, drove her home. They entered through the garage, no exterior cameras there. Emily confronted Daniel. Rachel watched, maybe to make sure she went through with it, maybe to protect herself. And after the push, Rachel shut off the attic backup camera, then logged into Daniel's laptop, attempted to delete main footage, but missed the hidden storage encryption. They didn't panic, they didn't rush, they planned. And the smile at the funeral? It wasn't relief, it was confidence, because they thought they erased everything. But here's the detail that destroyed their plan.
The hidden backup didn't upload to Daniel's laptop. It uploaded automatically to a private email account scheduled at midnight. And that email was already sent to someone neither of them expected. In Part 5, we find out who received the footage and why Daniel knew this might happen, because this wasn't just a murder, it was a trap. And Daniel may have predicted the betrayal, but he underestimated one thing. He underestimated how far they were willing to go.
The email at midnight. At exactly 12 a.m., an automated email was sent. Subject line, "If I'm dead, open this." The recipient wasn't Rachel. It wasn't Emily. It was Detective Aaron Miles, a former college friend of Daniel's. Someone he trusted, someone outside the family. Inside the email was a secure download link, the hidden attic footage, unedited, uncorrupted, complete. Detective Miles didn't see it until 6:12 a.m. the next morning, but once he did, everything changed. He watched Emily push Daniel. He saw Rachel standing in the reflection. He saw Rachel step forward after the fall. He saw her kneel, not to help, but to check if Daniel was really dead. Then he heard something no one else had heard before, Rachel whispering, "It's done." Not shocked, not scared, satisfied. Daniel wasn't paranoid, he knew. Weeks before his death, Daniel had grown suspicious. He noticed Emily acting distant. He noticed Rachel asking strange questions about the will. He overheard part of a phone call one night. Two voices, whispering. Emily saying, "Not yet." Rachel replying, "He's changing things, we can't wait." Daniel didn't confront them. He prepared. He installed the backup camera. He contacted Miles privately. He scheduled the email. And he sent that final message to Rachel. "If anything happens to me, don't trust her." That message wasn't a warning. It was bait. Daniel suspected they were working together. He wanted to see who would panic, who would slip. But he made one mistake. He thought suspicion would stop them. It didn't. It accelerated them. Emily and Rachel were arrested 36 hours after the funeral. No dramatic breakdown, no screaming innocence, just silence. During interrogation, they didn't look at each other because the partnership ended the moment they were caught. And here's the final twist. Rachel confessed first, not out of guilt, out of betrayal. Because Emily had secretly planned something else. The life insurance policy, it had a clause. If both spouse and immediate family are implicated in the policyholder's death, the payout is void. The money would go to charity. Daniel had added that clause quietly 1 month earlier, meaning even if they succeeded, they would have received nothing. Rachel found out during interrogation. She turned pale. Emily didn't know either. Daniel had outplayed them financially, but not physically. He predicted betrayal. He documented it. He exposed it, but he couldn't survive it. And that smile at the funeral, it wasn't relief, it wasn't happiness, it was arrogance, the belief that they got away with it. They didn't. But the real question isn't why Emily pushed him or why Rachel helped. The real question is, how many warning signs did Daniel ignore before it was too late? Because sometimes the people closest to you are the ones calculating the longest. Lessons of this story. Never ignore your intuition. Suspicion is not paranoia when patterns repeat. Greed destroys loyalty faster than hatred ever could. Money doesn't create evil, it reveals it. The most dangerous betrayal isn't from strangers, it's from people who know your routines. And sometimes, being right isn't enough to save you.
Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe for more real stories and life lessons, only on Stories On. See you in the next story.